Welcome everyone, my name's Dom, and last year I did my incomplete review of the iPhone 12. And with the iPhone 13 coming out tomorrow as of shooting this, it's time to do a complete review on the iPhone 12. So let's get into it. So the iPhone 12 has been an interesting phone, to say the least. It is very, very reminiscent of the iPhone 4 with the flat edges and the metal frame and all that other stuff. And the iPhone 4, in my opinion, is the most beautiful phone to date. Mind you, it does look a little dated by today's standards, but overall, its form, its fit, its finish are perfect and unrivaled by any phone today. And the iPhone 12 attempts to replicate that. This particular iPhone 12 that I have here is the cerulean blue or Pacific blue or whatever the hell it's called. Starting things off with some basic things, the color's awesome. I love the color. I think this is one of the greatest iPhone colors. But then again, also the iPhone 11, the green. I really liked the green. I want to keep those colors. And the form and everything overall with the physical fit of this phone is awesome. The largest screen that honestly my average size hands, and I'm like 5'8". This is kind of like the biggest version of the iPhone that I honestly would be okay with holding. The screen itself is awesome. It's a good iPhone screen. iPhone screens have always been good. When you take the size of the screen and you factor in the flat sides, when watching content, this phone is awesome because of this extra grip you get from the flat sides. Like honestly, like watching YouTube videos, everything on this phone for horizontal content is spectacular. The speakers on this thing are wonderful. The battery life on this thing is wonderful. Now, I am not a big social media person. I'm either using it for like text messaging, phone calls, that kind of stuff, or YouTube. So your mileage may vary depending on screen time, but I would say overall, even on days when I was like just beating the hell out of this thing, be it with video recording, the battery life has been awesome. Let's talk about this camera because I hate this stupid camera bump. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and it's ugly and I don't like it, but it's a pretty good camera. I am not a super shutterbug. I am not out for the ultimate smartphone pictures, right? Good enough means good enough. The biggest thing, and I say this all the time, for older phones, you'd be surprised how good of pictures that they can take if you just wipe the lenses off. If they're in a case, if they're in your purse, if they're in your pocket, whatever, the lenses get smudged and that's where you get that weird halo-y, you know, like foggy look. The video though is where I really want to talk about this phone's performance because this phone's video is really good. It has a variety of modes. You get your 4K, you get your slow motion, all that stuff like that. But the videos that come out are just, they're really impressive. The stability mode and night photos and all that stuff like that. I mean, everything that Apple told when it comes to this camera system is good. Performance-wise, the phone is excellent. It never hiccups. It never hitches. There are a couple things though that are really weird with this phone. For one, the 5G sucks. It just sucks. Occasionally, yeah, you know what? You get some good speeds. And honestly, like I've actually switched this phone back to LTE, which is somehow performed better than 5G. I know that 5G is still relatively new, but the 5G experience on this phone is not great. It makes the phone incredibly warm. It wears down the battery significantly. It's not ready yet. I mean, honestly, I feel like 5G was kind of crammed in this phone to give this phone something that made it different from the iPhone 11 because otherwise, besides the shape, this phone is exactly like the iPhone 11. But the iPhone 11 Pro and this phone are so similar, so identical that honestly, like if you had an iPhone 11 Pro last year, there was no reason to get this phone. And it's not to say that this phone isn't awesome in a lot of ways, but it's just, it feels like kind of tossed together last minute. Like we're going to change the shape and that's really it. We're going to make the camera array bigger. It's all just numbers games. There's nothing really spectacular or ultra, you know, amazing about this phone. And that's why I think that 5G was just kind of shoehorned in order to make, you know, this phone like different. But maybe I'm wrong in that regard and maybe it's just where I'm living or whatever. So if your 5G experience is different, definitely let me know down below. Now I want to talk about cases a little bit. Now I know that the Apple stuff's very expensive and this is one of those Apple genuine leather cases and this one was ridiculously expensive, but I want to talk a little bit more about this whole MagSafe thing because the iPhone 12 was the one that introduced MagSafe inside a phone for the MagSafe charger. And you know what, I never got the MagSafe charger with the little whatever the thing is, that puck. I never got that because I have stationary wireless Qi chargers and they're Samsung, and you know what, they've worked great for every wireless phone except this. I've had Apple cases before and they charge on these Qi chargers no problem, except when you first put the phone on, it detects it, you know, a little charge thing comes up and I don't know what happens. It's just some weird thing. So at first I thought for the longest time it was the magnets inside of the MagSafe case. That doesn't seem to be the case. I don't exactly, it doesn't seem to be the case. That's funny. So whatever's going on, and it's not just my model. Girlfriend has the same thing and she bought her phone months after I bought mine. As far as the phone's durability, I mean, it's an iPhone. Honestly, like durability wise, it is held up pretty much the same as every other iPhone in recent years. Like I think I dropped it once on the corner, got a little ding there, and I might be able to get some macro footage in, you can kind of see like how well it did. And it was a fair fall. Honestly, without ProMotion, without the in-screen fingerprint sensor, it's just the iPhone 11 Pro with flat edges, a slightly bigger screen, a different color, and a bulbous back, and a 5G antenna that doesn't work. And then the MagSafe thing is really freaking annoying. And as like a side note, I do miss 3D touch. Like the haptic touch stuff, you know, we ended up losing that with the iPhone 11. With the iPhone XS had it. I miss 3D touch, even though it wasn't, you know, a well implemented feature, and maybe it was consuming more battery than it may have been worth, but I wish Apple would bring it back somehow, or maybe make it like a pro element. So just for specifically like pro users who want to get more out of their phone, I would like to see 3D touch come back. We need to start seeing iPhones separate and break apart in the like what pro means and what pro doesn't mean. If you get the Pro phone, then you have professional applications that you want to be able to use this for. You need a professional phone for professional experience, and you're going to pay a professional price. So more cameras, that makes sense. ProMotion, that makes sense. You need more ways to use this thing as a tool, because what it currently provides is just the standard iPhone experience, and I don't like that Apple has been blending the word pro to effectively just mean better, right? It doesn't mean targeted at professionals the way that it used to. But I would just love to see more dynamic features. I would love to see like just more stuff that makes this phone justify the word pro, because right now it's just not doing it for me. But point is, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in for this complete review. And as soon as I get my hands on the iPhone 13, I will get you guys an incomplete review on that as well. So if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing to check that out. Throw a like on this video if you liked it. I say this all the time. Please consider sharing the video. It helps the channel out a lot. And as always, talk to you soon.